Hello, welcome to Bible Reviews and More. My name is Pastor Jeff. I've got the NIV Exhaustive Bible Concordance here in front of me. This is the third edition, and it really is exhaustive. It's extremely well put together. But just to give you a little bit of background on the NIV, this won't take too long before I get into this review of this NIV Exhaustive Bible Concordance. In 1955, businessman Howard Long was convinced of the need for a contemporary English translation of the Bible while sharing the gospel with a business associate. He was unhappy with the King James Version that he used to communicate the gospel and was frustrated with what he called its archaic language. He thought, everywhere I go in Canada, the US, anywhere, there are people who would like to read their Bible to their children at night, and they don't have something that children can grasp. He shared the frustration with his pastor, Reverend Peter de Jong, and inspired by the need for a Bible in contemporary English, the two men petitioned their denomination, the Christian Reformed Church, and after an initial rejection and deferral, the CRC, the Christian Reformed Church, endorsed a committee to investigate the issue in 1957. Well, the NIV began with the formation of a small committee to study the value of producing a translation in the common language of the American people, and a project of the National Association of Evangelicals in 1957 looked into it. In 1964, a joint committee of representatives from the Christian Reformed Church and National Association of Evangelicals issued invitations to a translation conference, which met in August 1965 at Trinity Christian College in Palos Heights, Illinois. Palos Heights, Illinois, and made two key decisions. The first was that a contemporary English translation of the Bible should be undertaken as a colleague endeavour of evangelical scholars. The second was that a continuing committee of 15 should be established to move the work forward. The committee of 15 was ultimately named the Committee on Bible Translation, CBT, and the contemporary English translation became the NIV. In 1967, the New York Bible Society, now called Biblica, took responsibility for the project and hired a team of 15 scholars from various evangelical Christian denominations and from various countries. So the New Testament of the NIV was released in 1973, and then the full Bible, the NIV full Bible, in 1978. A UK version was also released to accommodate differences between American English and British English. The NIV underwent a minor revision in 1984. In 1995, a new version of the New Testament and Psalms was published in the UK, and the full Bible followed in 1996 as the New International Version Inclusive Language Edition. But it was not published in the US because of opposition from conservative evangelical groups, their opposition to gender-neutral language. And a further edition with minor edits was published in 1999. A revised English edition, today's New International Version, the TNIV, again used gender-neutral language. It was probably, I would call, gender-specific language more than gender-neutral, but anyway. And this was released as a New Testament in March 2002, with the complete Bible being published in February 2005. Well, in 2011, an updated version of the NIV was released, with both the 1984 version and the TNIV being discontinued. The 2011 updated version is the version that you will find on bookshelves and in Bible stores as well. The update modified this 2011 update modified and dropped some of the gender-neutral language compared to the TNIV, which included going back to using mankind and man rather than human beings and people. Keith Danby, the President and Chief Executive Officer of Biblica, speaking of the TNIV, said that they had failed to convince people that revisions were needed and that they had underestimated their readers' loyalty to the 1984 edition. So the 2011 updated version of the NIV has been obviously released for quite some time. That's the one you'll find on your book stores, shelves, and in Bible stores. And the 2011 updated version of the NIV has dropped some, not all, but some of the gender-neutral language, which I would say is gender-specific really, but anyway, gender-neutral language compared to the TNIV. So it is a very, very good translation, and here is the NIV Exhaustive Bible Concordance. This includes the 2011 edition, but also words from the other editions of the NIV that I was just talking about. So the Exhaustive Bible Concordance, the only exhaustive index to every word in the NIV, definitions for every Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek word in the Bible included in here, features the most accurate numbering system for Bible words, complete cross-references between Strong's and G to K numbering systems. So yeah, very, very comprehensive. Just open up some of these initial pages. I'm a bit disappointed when I received this, some damage done here in the transport of that, just here there on the corner, but that's okay. It still works. I just put a bit of strong tape just over that little section there in the corner. It doesn't really bother me, just so long as I've got this concordance. Okay, so here's some of the, I'll just give you the first couple of pages here. There's your table of contents, which is important. I'm just going to try and pick this up. So there's your ISBN number there. By Zondervan, academic. So you've got your table of contents there that you can just have a quick look through if you need that. Acknowledgements for this concordance, dedication there. Dr. Stanley N. Gundry, publisher, mentor, and friend. The introduction, what is a concordance? And it goes right through describing what the various headings and what you will see through this concordance. I found this, for instance, this part here, not directly translated. You might see that throughout this concordance. And it says here, because modern English and ancient Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek do not have identical rules of grammar and style, translators must often add words for the sake of clarity. For example, Mark 16:9 in the KJV begins, "Now when Jesus was risen early." Strong has no number at the end of this context line because there is no Greek word for Jesus in this verse. It was supplied by the translators to give a subject to the verb. The NIV EBC follows this practice of indicating NIV words that are not in the originals by using the code NDT, not directly translated, for both the Hebrew and Aramaic of the Old Testament and for the Greek of the New Testament, under the heading Abraham. For example, we find, I might be able to show you this if I can get up a little bit closer. You can see the A highlighted there. A, Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba. Patiently, Abraham received what was promised. So, as in the case of Jesus in the King James Version in Mark 16:9, These proper names were supplied from the context for clarity and for the benefit of the reader. This practice has always been considered acceptable in Bible translations. So you come across various headings, but it actually explains what those headings are. Whoop. Nearly lost my camera then. So it explains what those various headings are right through here as a part of the introduction. Index of wording differences between the North American and Anglicized editions of the NIV. And features of the main concordance here. And here we have the NIV Exhaustive Bible Concordance. And it starts off alphabetically with, just as in a dictionary, if you're looking for a certain word. So let's look at, I don't know, the word abomination. For instance, let's see. Abomination. So that's where you'll find the word abomination in Daniel, Matthew, Mark. You can see the references there, the chapter and verse numbers there. And then right on the, just going across here, for instance, in Matthew 24:15, the holy place that the abomination or abominable or abominations that causes. And you can see the G 1007, that's the Greek. You can go to a reference to see the Greek meaning of that word. Here in the Old Testament is the Hebrew, so H 9199, there's your reference there if you want to find out. He will set up an abominable or abomination that causes desolation. So you can find out what that is going across there, H 9199. For that reference. Let's have a look at another one very, very quickly. Okay, let's look at the word abundantly. You see that okay? The Lord has blessed my master abundantly, and he, that's from Genesis 24:35, there's the Hebrew reference there. Here's the Greek, 2 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 5, for just as we share abundantly in the sufferings of. It could be abundant, but that makes more sense for abundantly in that sentence. From 2 Corinthians 9 verse 8, God is able to bless you abundantly. That makes sense there, abundantly. And 1 Titus 1:14, of our Lord was poured out on me abundantly. And there's your Greek reference there. G 5670, abundantly. So, of our Lord was poured out on me abundantly. G 5670. G 5670. So let's have a look for that. For the Greek. Okay. Here's all the Hebrew. And we're going to go, because it's just up the top of the page there, you will see the H, get right in the back there, it says here the Hebrew index, just so you know for sure. So we're looking for G, oops, sorry, my camera went for a bit of a ride then. G5670, okay. So the numbers are up the top here. Okay. G5. Okay, G5670. There's the Greek translation for abundant. There it is. If you can't read Greek, that's okay. It'll give you the English equivalent to the Greek there, which abundant, poured out abundantly. Poured out abundantly. So that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? I mean, you probably know that without even looking up this reference, but there are certainly words that you may not be sure of. And this can be extremely handy to find out what the Greek meant in a certain the way it was used in a phrase or a sentence or in a verse. So there's your, as you're looking through for your numbers, you know, just getting closer and closer to where you want to go with the number that was referenced way back on your concordance. So yeah, very, very comprehensive concordance. I love it. I think it's a great help that you can use as part of your study. And it's just got every single solitary word in there. I'm not sure if it has the ands and buts, but I don't know why you'd want that anyway. No, it doesn't have your, oh, yeah, it does. Boy. And. Okay, well, so, but it's very, very comprehensive. It's incredibly useful to have this concordance if you want to check out the Greek and the Hebrew meanings of the word that you have looked up as well. If you're not sure how it sits in a certain verse, then you can find out what that actual word is talking about. It doesn't matter that you can't read Greek or Hebrew. I mean, terrific if you can, all the better. But if you can't, which a lot of us cannot, then you've got the Hebrew and the Greek translation meaning written in English at the back here. So there's your Hebrews, all the H's, and there's the Greek with all the G's. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.